Okay, where is my introduction group? So I had four groups. Which one of you was my introduction group? Okay, you four. All right. John, Mary, Pedro, and Alicia. Okay. So which one of you is going to be my speaker today? Okay. Alicia, you want to talk? Okay. So I asked you to read the introduction of our sample lab reports. So each of you have a copy and all of you follow along because remember, our goal is for you all to be able to write a lab report of your own. So we need to figure out what we have to do. So Alicia, when you looked at the introduction, what type of information did you find that you needed to have in an introduction? Or what was the purpose of the introduction? What information's in there? So let me get the, here we go, share my screen here. So here's our introduction. So there is what you all read. So what exactly did you find out? Okay. So what you said is this tells you what you were going to do. So what you were going to do in the experiment. Let me put this on the board. Okay, so it tells you what you're going to do. Did you notice anything else about the introduction paragraph? Okay, that it had a header that said introduction. Okay, that's important. It had a section header labeled. So I hope you did notice, all of you noticed that. So as you went through your lab report, each section had a header that introduced the section. So when you write your lab reports, that is going to be needed. So that was actually a very good observation that you all made. What else did you find out? It used a big word called hypothesis. Yeah, hypothesis. Can everyone say that? Hypothesis, right. So it had a section or a sentence called hypothesis. And that's important for an introduction. So does anybody know what a hypothesis is? Okay, somebody just said the word guess. Okay, we're going to go more into what is a hypothesis. So we're all going to be doing a lab report this week. So each day we're going to be working on a different part. So today we're focusing on the introduction, and my introduction group did an awesome job trying to explain what an introduction is, right? An introduction basically introduces or describes what you're going to do in the experiment, or why. So another thing we should say is, why are you going to do this? Why are you doing the experiment? So let's go back to our introduction paragraph. So let's look at it really closely because there's several things that you're going to have to do with our introduction paragraph. So let's look at the first sentence. When you normally write a paragraph for English class, like for a book report or an essay, what's the first sentence? What is the first sentence usually? Anybody? Right, topic sentence. Right, it's a topic sentence. But for an introduction, we don't use something called a topic sentence. We actually use something called a purpose statement. So can I have a reader read the first sentence of our introduction? Okay, Jonathan, go ahead. The purpose of this experiment is to see if plants grow better with coffee instead of water. Okay, so that's our purpose statement. So notice the purpose statement. It starts off with the purpose of this experiment. So I'm going to highlight that. It is okay when we're starting off learning how to write a lab report, because it is kind of difficult. It is okay for us to use kind of sentence starters. So it's okay to just say the purpose of this experiment is. So let's put this down here. So first thing we need to do is we need to have a purpose statement. And what we need to say is the purpose of the experiment is. And then you say what the purpose is. So for this lab report, what's the purpose? Testing to see if plants grow better with coffee, right? Versus water. Anybody ever tried this? No one? Okay, someone just said they dumped out their Starbucks in the garden. Okay, well, that's not really an experiment, but that's interesting that you would do that. Okay, the purpose of this experiment is to see if Plants grow better with coffee instead of water. Okay, so that's the purpose statement. Now, I want you to think back in your head, back at the first week of school, we did the really fun rainbow experiments. All of you loved that. Remember that? You made a rainbow. What was the purpose of that experiment? And it wasn't to be making a rainbow. What do you think it was? Why don't you talk to your partners? What was the purpose? Why did we make that rainbow experiment? Okay, somebody want to guess? Mateo? Okay, the purpose was to measure. Right, the purpose was to learn how to measure and use graduated cylinders. So if I asked you to write a lab report back when we were doing that, what you would say is the purpose of this experiment is to learn how to use graduated cylinders to measure liquids. Okay, so that could be our purpose statement. So let me just kind of do that. That would be an example of a purpose statement. Very good. Okay, so let's go back to our introduction paragraph. What do these next few sentences tell you? So remember, in a regular paragraph in English, what do what are the sentences after your topic sentence talk about? They're supporting sentences, right? So they support the topic sentence. So I want you to look at this. Can I have a reader? Okay. Matt, plants are living organisms that make their own food. Plants need sunlight and water to grow, and without water, plants will die. Okay. What type of sentences are those? Work with your partner and try to figure out, why are those in there? Why do we need that information? So go ahead and talk to your partner, and then we'll come back and we'll figure it out, why we need those sentences. Okay, somebody want to tell me an example, why do you think we need those sentences in this paragraph? Okay, so it tells why you need water, right? Because look, it also tells you how plants grow, right? So imagine that you live on Mars and you've never seen a plant and you know nothing about plants. If you just said you were going to do an experiment to see if plants grow better with coffee instead of water, they'd be like, what are you talking about? What's a plant? Why do they need water? How do plants grow? So this is the next sentences will be supporting sentences, giving information, I should say background information needed for the experiment. So for this experiment, we needed to know what? Okay, what a plant is, and what is a plant based on these supporting sentences? It's a living organism, okay. What do plants need to grow, right? We need to know about growing. How do you grow a plant? So, Mary, how does a plant grow? Needs sunlight. What else does it need? Water and sunlight. Okay, so we need those things. And do we know reason why we need water and sunlight? Okay, they say plant's gonna die if it doesn't get it. Okay, so that's the information. So that's some minimal amount of information that will tell you why we are doing it. Okay, so that ends my presentation.